Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Sounds good.
For everybody, just
So,
remember that if you want to see film full screen, just there should be a button to see it as big as possible if you want. Just drag it aside.
so welcome, guys. Thank you for being here. I know you could be at the happy hour for the election night, but you're here with us. So thank you for that. Without further ado, React Native for mobile apps, right? But who's who's this guy? So let me just tell you who I am. So, like I mentioned before, I work for Legacy Research out of Delray Beach. I'm actually here right now because I had internet problems the whole day, so that's why I'm here. Basically a front end developer. Also, just this year, I've been doing a lot of mobile development. Full stack, I had to be also using and configuring and building new APIs. We usually run the MERN stack here, which is basically Mongo. Uh, what is E for again? Well, whatever.
Express.
Express, yeah, and React, obviously, and Node. So that's basically what we run here at Legacy Research. All of our stack is in AWS. I've done some Vue stuff as well. We have about 7 apps that we released with Mario. He's on the call too. They're all in Vue, wrapped with Cordova, and we have some time. I'll show you some of those, and we could talk about the differences and whatnot. So moved to Boca about 2 years ago from Miami, originally from South America, Colombia. I've been in IT support for a while. I have some certifications, some Microsoft stuff. I I was in Best Buy doing technical support before even the Geek Squad was around. I used to work for Carnival Cruise Lines, and from there I took on some entrepreneur activities like restaurant and heavy equipment, machinery, and some other ones within. I've always liked designing and coding. Started off with Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere, and started coding in Flash 4 back in the days of Micromedia. If you guys remember that. And Front Page, Microsoft, some SharePoint when it was first getting started. It was really, really fun. I got my bachelor's from FIU in Miami, and I'm a Winkle graduate uh, in Ruby on Rails. Basically, that's when I started really getting to coding. I had my own web development agency, a little firm, but I always subcontract my back end and front end like hardcore developers to all around the world. So that's when I was like, I need to get my hands on that. So why go native versus just responsive, right? Why don't you just make a responsive website and just make it work, right? So it's like, okay, I don't know, whatever. So let's see. So why native? So obviously in responsive, it's a website. It's just responsively going into your mobile device. It requires an internet connection to get all the images, the content. Sometimes the performance is not the best. And when you're browsing through the site, either a pop-up or something always blocks the most important menu button or something. So it lacks of this natural navigation. Also, it lacks of push notifications and the functions of the phone, the camera, the calendar, a lot of really cool features from the phone that you're missing out on. Also, the speed, QR codes, AR, voice recognition. Although you could do it in a responsive app, but it's easier, I think, on a mobile side. Security for users. The information is not going across a bunch of routers here and there. And obviously brand awareness and accessibility. So, but the biggest thing that pulls us from native versus responsive is the time and obviously the money. So the development time on native, as you guys may or may not know, is much more. It's much more intensive, much more involved in not only development but testing and releasing and just keep updating as the iOS versions keep emerging and going up. Now I think we're in iOS 12. I think my daughter came with the new iOS 12. I was like, okay, super cool little icons, right? So if you were just developing for native, these are some of the tools that you will need to get friendly with. Xcode, it's for those of you who don't know, Xcode is an Apple tool to not only develop but deploy your iOS applications. And for Google is Android Studio, and you can run your simulators through there through these two tools. For Android Studio, you have to download Java, and you have to set up your environment variables for your Android simulators to run on your machine properly. So let's say once you have all these tools ready and you have your app ready to go, usually the workflow, something like this. We're ready, right? So you're all happy and you're done coding. So the deploy workflow will look something like this. So first you test on your local simulators. Before you package it, before you build it, you have to update the version because the store will not take the same version that you previously uploaded. You have to remember to obviously build locally for release. Then you got to make sure you got your Apple developer account. Make sure you paid those $100 per year that is active. If it's for a company, you got to make sure that you have that DUNS number. Otherwise, Apple will not give you an account. That's only for a company though. For Droid, also the Google App Console. It's $25 per year. Actually, not per year. It's a one-time typo there. And then you're ready to go, right? So you have this app. Wonderful. You're like, okay, I got my tools. I got my accounts, my Apple development account, my Google development account. Now, what language? What am I actually going to be coding on? So if you were doing for Android, you'll be doing either in Java or Kotlin, which was recently introduced in 2017. I don't know if I said it right, Kotlin or whatever. For iOS, you will be doing either Objective-C or Swift, which is a more friendlier way. So you study this language and you stay on this platform for those two. However, voila, React Native, right? So with React Native, you'll be able to code for both iOS and Android. Obviously, it's faster development since you have practice or at least have some knowledge in JavaScript. You can pick up React, and React Native is just down the street. But why React Native, right? Why not just wrap the app in Cordova, just make it an HTML, JavaScript, and wrap it in Cordova? Or there's other tools out there. I think it's Flutter, and there's a whole bunch of ones there, right? But I think it's more of a preference and time, right? So time you don't get back. So if I know React, why can't I just use that for React Native for the mobile apps? I could use the same fundamentals, right? That we use currently in React. Only one thing, well, not one thing, a lot of different things, but one of the things is that you just have to import whatever element you're going to be using from the React Native library, API, sorry. You can use the same components, class or functional, same states, same props, and hooks, right? Hooray for hooks. Thank God for hooks. And the bad boy context. That's a really cool one. Mr. Todd gave a presentation on that a couple of weeks ago, and it was really cool.
And a couple of weeks before that, Maria gave a talk on hooks.
Ah, there you go. There you go. So literally. So then why just not go into, why can't I just code it directly from React into React Native? You can, but there's a lot of caveats that you have to be concerned with. So that's why it's like, what? So I can't just do it with React. So let me show you some of those caveats there. So some of the differences we have is everything in HTML world and in React, our JSX will convert a div normally, but in React Native, we use views, and it does have to be capitalized. It's not a component that you create. It has to be capitalized. Also, paragraph tags and span tags, you have to use the text. You could self-close it, or you could close it with stuff inside, I guess. I'll show you in a little bit. I really love to use Sass and SCSS for my style sheets. I love headering, whatever. You put stuff on top of each other. I love to use that in React and all of my web apps that I work on. And but when I got to React Native, it was like, man, what do you mean I can't attach a style sheet and just use my regular Sass workflow? So I couldn't, but you could, which is one of the ways that Vue likes to do it, is you could put your styles within your same file. So you create your own classes at the end of the file, and you could just reference them within your components. So that was a twist there. Also, Flexbox. I was like, oh yes, I can use Flexbox with my React Native app. Cool. Started developing. Whoa, why is this thing flipping? So it turns out that Flexbox in web and in React, regular React, when you first put display flex, it throws everything side to side. Oh, the camera's here, side to side. So okay, cool, because it goes in the row axis. But for React Native, it goes in the column in the y-axis by default. So you have to switch it if you wanted to, like for example, if you wanted to flip the iPad, you have to make sure you account for that. So that's one thing. And then I was like, great, I should be able to use Bootstrap with my React Native app. No Bootstrap. The ones that I found and it worked the best for me is React Native Elements and Native Base. It works kind of like Bootstrap. You bring in the elements you need and you hook them up with your components. And I'll show you an example of that. Native Base is huge. It has a lot of really cool built-in components like slide-in menu. And Mario, we got to look at that for our apps. So take a look at, because I know you got that task to put a slide-in menu. So Native Base is really cool. It has a lot of really cool features. And then I was like, okay, so now I got my JWT token coming from the API. Now where do I put it? Local storage. It's not called local storage in React Native. It's called async storage. So that was fun to play with for a couple of days to learn my way around and everything, right? And then how do I display data? How can I just grab an array and just map through it and just return a JSX element? Well, they have flat list for that for React Native. Sure, you could do it. You could do the map on an array, and you could loop through that and just spit out the text or the view, and you could continue through there. But flat list would just grab all of that, and inside of the flat list, you have to put the key. And I'll give you a little example on that in a little bit. And then React Router, I was like, yes, I finally got through React Router, which it could be cumbersome at the beginning. But then for React Native, I also had to read on React Navigator and React Navigator stack and tabs. They're not all the same. So For React Navigator, you switch between, no, actually that's a stack, between screens, and you could go back. There's a back button always on the top, and you could go back. And the tabs, obviously the tabs at the bottom that you could use. And then great, I was like, okay, let's put some buttons on there. All right, well, I can't style these silly little buttons on here like I want to. So then I had to learn about touchable opacities. So they're really fun. Basically, you have more flexibility to do anything you need. Yes, you can use JSX for both, aside from the stuff that we talked up on the top there. And for your API calls, you can use fetch and Axios, which is really nice. Context and props, which we already touched on. And context makes your life so much easier. So you have two ways to make your React Native app. One is your React Native CLI, which is the core of the library. And then the next one is Expo. So let me just touch on CLI here. So to get started with CLI, you have to have Brew installed in your system. Obviously Node to run all the npm packages, Watchman, and I just copy paste the codes from the React Native CLI setup. You gotta install and configure Xcode because you're gonna be doing a lot of work in Xcode. Cocoa Pods, those are really fun. They're not delicious. They're not the little cereal that my daughters eat. They're a pain in the you-know-where to install and configure. Then we have, and then you'd be able to do just npx React Native in it, and then whatever you want to call your first app. So you have to go through all those things. They seem simple, but you will get some errors here and there because maybe you have different version of iOS. Catalina doesn't like your Xcode. Xcode needs more free space. It gets to be a pain sometimes. So let's see. And then once you have that, you need Metro to run your React Native app. Okay. Then when you're ready, when you code it and you're good to go, then you have to set up your production and development certificates. If you want to push it obviously to a store, you have to have your push certificate installing your Xcode. You have to have it up to date. Usually through iOS, you send it up through Xcode. You first have to configure it in test flight for beta to download it on your devices, and then finally get your build to get an approval. Right, certificates, and then the same for Android Studio. Key store. This is a fun one I put here. Keep safe, because when I was first starting out, I was like, whatever, just rename it and throw it somewhere else. So I lost the key store to an app, and I had to start from scratch because it was just once you have the key store to sign the app, you can't lose that. Otherwise, you have to start a brand new. So yeah, that was fun. So you use Jar Signer or Google Build to sign the app, and you could upload your APK via the Google Console or via Android Studio. I usually just do the console. I grab the APK and just drag and drop it. That's the old school way. The Google Build, I haven't really had time to look into that too much. So the second way that we could work on our React Native app is Expo. So with Expo, it's cool. Check this out. So instead of having all this mumbo jumbo for React Native CLI, what you have to do is just install the CLI general in your whole computer. That's what the -G is for those of us who don't know. And then you just start your project right away. Exporting it, you call whatever your name of your project, and you can start running it from npm start or export start, and it will run right on your machine. All right. So then you could build it and deploy it. And these are a couple of wonderful commands to run. And that's it. That's literally, with this slide here, you could build your Expo React Native app. And that to me, I was like, whoa, that's really cool. If I could just, with just this slide, you know, against the baby, nothing against the baby, but without the baby, you could create your own Expo app there. So the Expo, when to use it or not? That's the big question, right? So when should I use it? When should I not? So let's go through that real quick. So with Expo, you don't need Xcode. You don't need Android Studio. You don't need any of the headaches of the certificates of the configurations for your system. It has a really cool feature called OTA, push over the air. So I don't know if you guys, I think Roberto has like, I don't know how many mobile apps out there. You know, the pain it is to work on his update, push it to test flight, test it out locally on your device, then send it to Apple for review. Then if it makes it through the review without any appeals, without any hiccups, then you release it. That within like maybe 2 to 3 days, you could be in that little game with Apple, where just because some metadata they didn't like, or maybe you mentioned something about Google in your app, they'll hit you with a, they're not gonna deny it, but it's just like, hey, fix the metadata. We don't want any Google or Android mentioning in our apps. So you have to attend to that. With OTA, once your app is in Expo, you send your updates to Expo, and Expo will gradually, well, it depends if you want to gradually or in an instant, to update your app on your users' phones, since you're using JavaScript, React Native. So that is like a, right? And you only need those two commands to deploy to your iOS or your Android store. But now there's drawbacks to that, right? So Expo is really cool to get started, to get all hyped up about React Native. But then you start thinking, okay, so I'm gonna put up this app, but I need my customers to get push notifications. And then push notifications, okay, so who are we paying for already? Can we use Firebase? Can we use Urban Airship? Can we use Amazon? There's not a lot of flexibility for push notifications when you use Expo, okay? There isn't. So that's one caveat that you have to be careful when you're do an Expo app for production purposes. Also, you don't have access to the native code of the app, since you don't have Xcode or Android Studio. You could maybe find some ways, but it's not as easy as if you were just doing React Native CLI. And sometimes it's just maybe it's too much magic with just two commands. You're up there, and your app is just on the store directly. It's just great. All right. So that's all I have for the presentation. Now I wanted to just jump on and show you a couple of the apps that we've built. All right. So let me see if I can get out of here. Exit. All right, let me share my other screen here. Or no, maybe not. Okay. Okay, this thing is in. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Cool. So where's my? So this is one of the apps, one of the 7 apps that we've. Okay, let's do that. Let me sure.
Damien, Damien, I don't think you're as special as you think you are. You keep saying like, this is what I'm seeing. I don't know about you guys. We're seeing what you're seeing. You're not special. We see what you see. You're special in other ways, Damien.
Oh,
There you go.
thank you.
There you go. So this is one of the apps. This is Xcode for those of you who have not opened it or installed it or anything. This is Xcode. This is one of the apps that we've done in Cordova, and I wanted to show you really quickly the Cordova. Let me know if you can see that. Yeah. So Cordova has like a config file for all of the settings that you want your phone to have. So, for example, here you have all the icons that you want to use in your splash screen, all that good stuff. You have. I don't want to show you my API keys. Yeah, the information for each environment, like if you want the orientation,
Right.
if you push notifications. And this is basically what it looks like. It creates platforms here, and one for Android, one for iOS. So you will literally have to go inside of the platform you want to open it on. And this is one of the platforms. This is one of the apps, Jeff Clark Mobile. And as I mentioned, it's wrapped in Cordova. And this is the simulator, right? And let me just sign in real quick so I can show you how fancy it is.
Love the endless triangle. My daughter loves drawing that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it authenticates with the API, all the good stuff. It's a really simple app. It looks like it's native, but it's built in Cordova. It also attends to the landscaping, and then you go into the issues and updates. This is for my company here in Legacy Research. We have also portfolios here, and you could like basically invest. Legacy Research has financial gurus that do financial research.
Quick,
so
take my money.
That information. Yeah. So this is basically the Cordova one, right? And you can see how many files and how many things you have to go through. The plugins, it's insane how many amount of plugins we have to install to try to do any little thing. Show status bar, allow fingerprint, and it just every time that we have to compile this little app, it's a pain to do in Cordova. Packages and all that good stuff. So it's running from here. Now let me show you one that I did in React Native, and it's a little more familiar, right, than just a regular React project. So we have the source, we got some context, we got the screens, and this one here, let me see if this works. And basically to run it, I set it up to use start, and once you start it up, it throws up the Expo. Starting the Metro Builder. All right. And then you could just, with your phone or your iPad, literally just go against the QR code. And for now, I'm going to run it on iOS. There.
Jonathan, is this a sample app that you have?
This is actually a freelancing project.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, but it's not like something we shouldn't be scanning or trying.
No, not at all. So I'm gonna show it from my iPad. Can you guys see this one? Yeah. So this is my iPad, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna go into Expo. And let me just close out of there. And this guy here, I go to projects, and you see it picks up my local Expo
Yes.
instance. So I open it right back up. At the bottom, notice that it was building. Let me log in real quick. I gotta show the login, man, because it's not,
Yeah,
it's
you
not
you,
cool,
you can
right?
disconnect and reconnect it if you want, so you don't show us the password.
It's fine.
Oh, nice.
So it goes in. It behaves like a regular app. This is a scrollable view. You have to add that to your code. You can search here, and then start searching. So
Hey,
basically, the app.
Jonathan,
Yeah,
Patricia's asking if you think it's necessary to know React before you begin with React Native.
I think it's a good idea, Patricia, to do React before React Native, because a lot of the concepts do cross over, and it's the foundation of React Native. So I think it really helps to know React and familiarize yourself with because with all the fundamentals of the React. Because once you get into the mobile and native environment, you could find like another Pandora box of bugs that just have to do with native. Like sometimes you do a change real quick and you don't see it on your Expo instance. So it's like, what's going on? And you get this weird, nasty errors. And basically, you have to do is just restart your Expo instance, and it all works. So it's just another level of complexity when you go to native. So yeah, I'll definitely recommend get some React in your belt first. So let me just run through this real quick. You select the store. You have the specials. You could start coding, and all this keyboard. So you see there, they only wanted for the number pad to come up. So you have to program that. You have to tell it's a prop that you add into it. And let me just go through this real quick. You add to the order, right? Guys, I'm not a UI guru, so Mariela must be like, "Oh my God, that looks disgusting," but but this is what I got. So you go to the cart, you see the info, you add all the tests, whatever, and then you could hide or clear the cart. You could save it, right? Or you could click on the camera and check you guys out.
Hey, I
This
see
is
myself.
to they could scan a barcode. I don't have a barcode here, but actually here I do.
Oh man, you should have. We should have been
I have a
prepared.
book. I have a book, man. I have a book. Yeah, here. I think I have a book here. Let me scan it. And
Damien's showing you a book if that one doesn't work.
Yeah.
yeah, maybe it's I don't have enough light.
Wait,
Also, but
does it
basically,
have to be like a CVS product?
Because he has
it has
a
to be.
brochure full of them.
It has to be. Where are you? Here. Yeah, it's so blurry. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not getting it. But basically, it grabs it, it throws it inside of the search, and then from there, it adds it. You could add it to your order. So
Fantastic.
let's see. It's added to the order. You click on save, and then you want to confirm. Here, I have to add so that they could sign with their finger, and then confirm order. Then that's sent. You're taken back. You see the bottom tab. So the bottom here says new order and history, my account. So you take into the accounts. I created this really ugly log out button on the top. But that's basically the app. But the cool thing is that I have the API connecting into SendGrid so that it sends the order link through there. So let me just pull up how that looks real quick. There we go. Okay. So we get this. We get all this good stuff, and you get the link, and voila, this is
Nice.
the order that we created. The customer wanted for the barcode to be there, so I had to install. This is all in React, regular React, and this is coming from a back office that you see all the orders through there. This is the last order that we just did, November 3rd. This is the one that just came in. So really cool on that.
Fantastic.
Let me show you. This is. Let me just make a quick change to see if you guys can see it. Well, actually, let me just run you through the app real quick. Components, hooks. See, this is what I was telling you on. Let's go to the confirm order. So in order for your scroll to look smooth and for you to be able to get to the rest of the data, you have to wrap it around the scroll view.
Now, is scroll view or components that's part of React Native, or is that that's something you imported?
No, in part of React Native.
That's
and
amazing.
Actually this scroll view, actually I think I've imported it from React Native by itself, because I think React Native Elements has their own scroll view from there.
And then, Todd, that's not part of React, right? You don't have that automatically in React, the endless scroll.
No. React Native added that scroll view because when you had lists, it was really inefficient.
Every single in Cordova we have a lot of problems with that, so we have a lot of different components.
Yeah, but now they even add they've added the inertia scrolling and everything. So every version of React Native that's come out has become so much better and so much closer to like the native Android and iOS experience.
And then you're like, okay, then why is all these lists on top of the time and my battery and all this stuff? So you have to wrap it in a safe area view also, which is also a this is actually from safe area context.
Jonathan,
so you have to wrap it on top of that.
I'm just trying to help you out when I see questions in the chat. So Prav's asking how you're mirroring your iPad. It's not exactly a React Native question, but it's
yeah, no, it's actually pretty cool. Check it out. You have a QuickTime player. You go to here, let me close it real quick. You go to QuickTime player file.
It has to be physically plugged in, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do this.
Yes, correct. Yes, thank you, Todd, for reminding me. Yeah, you have to physically plug it in, and you start a new movie recording. But then there's a little button here. See, I could just turn on for my camera to record my ugly self here, or I could do the camera to go into my iPad.
Hideous. Much better.
Yeah. So I thought it was a cool way to show you guys like right on the iPad, because the camera on the simulator obviously doesn't show.
Perfect.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go, keep going.
I think we're good. I could keep going, but I think we should be good for the questions.
Let's do that. This is fantastic. If anybody has some questions, these are great questions on the chat. Thank you, Todd, for bringing those up. I really appreciate it. So I'll ask some things. So I'm a big fan of Cordova, the way it's built, and the way other environments that solve this issue that you've greatly presented, which is, I'll tell you the basics with Microsoft. When I was working at Skype, well, it was Microsoft. It was we were delayed on a particular product that was going to go live. It was going to, I think it was competing with Snapchat that was just eating our lunch at Skype. And so they brought up a product that was a sort of light version, and it was amazing. we were Microsoft, and it was the Windows phone version that was delaying the whole release because they couldn't release live first on the iPhone, and then and the Android was close to it. And so by the time the iPhone was in beta, they already had the Android and they was about to go live. So they could have gone live within a week of each other and perfectly fine, and everybody would have been happy. But because it was Microsoft, they were delaying it for the Windows one, and they had a big tough time. 3 different teams with 3 different knowledge bases. They all use the core API, but you have to separate it. And now if you want to bring it all like John does and want to bring it onto one box, it's 3 different projects, 3 different environments, and 3 different settings, and it's crazy. And it should never be that way, and you should never be delaying on your release because a completely different environment isn't ready, right? When we do things live, it goes live, and you want to go live with that. So this was fantastic, and those components already being built in. That's a big one that Cordova doesn't, and we use other components for that. So it is fantastic. I guess I didn't have any questions. So try to explain to Mario. Tell us what do you like about the Cordova and everything about that that you feel that you should stick with that.
Yeah, well, I've been doing BocaJS with Cordova for like 8 months already. What I like most so far, it's it's easier to try to do the part of the front end. Like you can use the CSS, all the features, like really easy. Those things are not built in React, so that makes the development easier. I think that's one of the things that I can think of now.
So there is that, and I mean, Jonathan, you already mentioned that, right? Excuse me. But
yeah, I mean, it's really cool. Vue is really cool. I really love Vue because it's easier to transition when you're just learning HTML, JavaScript, CSS, all that good stuff, and Vue is just carries on to that. And you can use those same elements and just inject Vue into it, which is amazing. We did a lot of stuff with Mario and Vue, but React just took the job market big time.
Yeah,
so
that's another thing.
That's absolutely.
There's another question in chat. Prov's asking if the end user experience is native still better.
Is it better in native?
He means
Yeah,
I
so
think native build stuff like
for the end user experience, like writing it in Swift and in Kotlin versus writing it in React Native.
What do you feel, Jonathan? I know
He
Todd
says he
and I have
notices,
points.
just adding, he says he notices the Burger King app, for example, is sometimes unstable when he's ordering veggie burgers, and he thinks they use JavaScript for their iOS app, or they just hate vegans, is what he. Because it's only when he orders veggie burgers, right?
Yeah, I think it's the latter.
If you order,
I think it's the latter, man.
Yeah, Prov, I think if you actually order a Big Mac, it works fine.
They have that if statement. Yeah. So imagine even if you order a Big Mac. Yeah, if you order a Big Mac.
Whopper.
Well, no, that exactly, Tony. Exactly, and I was saying, even if you order a Big Mac through the Burger King app, it's better than a veggie burger.
Oh, did I say Big Mac?
Yeah.
So no, actually, do you guys know that I just saw today? Burger King has an ad that they put out that says, "Please order McDonald's," and they were like, "We never thought we would say this, but we want you to order from McDonald's and Subway and this," and they start naming all these restaurants, and they're saying that, how many people these restaurants employ, and they're like, of course we'd rather you order a Whopper first, but if you don't, please order a Big Mac, order from these other restaurants. I thought it was really cool.
It's very nice.
Wow, so, that's insane. But to answer the question, I mean, I've seen Vue apps behave natively really nice. Also, React Native apps behave really nice, and I've seen also native like Swift apps run like crap sometimes. So I don't think it has to do with the technology. I think it has to do more with the I guess the developer.
I think, yeah. So I'll
100%.
just chime in that, Prav, that it's gotten so the React Native experience and even the Cordova and some of these others have gotten so much better. They're getting a lot closer to native, but it also really depends on what you're doing. So, like, if you want to take advantage in the new iPad Pro of like the LiDAR sensors and stuff like that, it's not going to have necessarily that native functionality built out yet in React Native. So it really depends on which libraries you're using, but I would say for like 95% of apps, if you're building a game that's like 3D and relies heavily on like metal and things, some of the iOS specific or Android specific libraries or SDKs, then if you're just doing your basic, like this types of stuff that Jonathan was just showing, you'd be really hard pressed to find differences, except for how quickly you can build out your app for both platforms, right, Jonathan?
Yeah, and I didn't show, but yeah, with one click of a button, your Android app will show up and your iOS simultaneously. So you can make the change in your React Native component, and it will instantly refresh, and you see the
And
change on
live
both.
changes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
now there's differences in buttons and stuff like that that you have to play with depending on how you want the app to look on both platforms. But yeah.
there's always that. I mean, I remember that. I mean, Unity is a big deal about it. Todd, I have a pet peeve of people saying that because I'm a big believer on hybrid, and before it was mainly, it was the natives, and then it was the sort of Cordoba at the beginning and things like that. But now with Xamarin Native and native React Native, you're getting pretty close. You get all the benefits of one code base, one developer, two platforms, as opposed to two different developers, and then you still get the speed of that one. And Todd, everybody uses the excuse. I don't know if you did it on purpose. Of well, but if you're making a game, you're never going to do this native. You're always going to do it in Unity, which is that hybrid. It is as close to React Native. It isn't React Native, but it is.
Right.
You're coding in C#. You're building one soft. You're pressing one button and two applications come out. You send them separately, but it came out of your one source code. And just like what you mentioned, Jonathan, even then, I remember applications that were built and they were working fine. They were released on iPhone, and then it was time to release them on Android, and there was still, even though they were in Unity, there was still some work to do to make them work well on Android, and vice versa with that.
Damien, there's another question in chat. Prav is asking, what is Unity? He says he's never heard of Unity.
Exactly, Mr. Unity, Mr. Pravi.
Mr.
Praveen,
Unity himself.
Yeah. If you don't mind, Mr. Prav, if you can put your post to your meetup. Praveen runs an amazing meetup to do with game development. They meet once a week, I think it is. And so there's a lot of presentations. We had Todd has presented at this group where it's with a different group I run, I think. Now I'm a little bit confused with both of their groups together, because it was just amazing work.
I was going to say that I've noticed some people attended the React VR courses with you, Damien, and
Larry did, yeah.
part 2 was Code for Fort Lauderdale of Broward College.
Yes.
But the link that Larry posted was the one of the midterm exercises during your workshop. But just speaking about the Unity aspect and what you can and can't do, I think like for the people in the workshops in BocaJS, I don't think some of those things, Unity might be like overkill. I mean, it's always, there's only so many hours in a day. But I think like if you're doing React VR, those type of things, I think you can still do that. So I'm posting I won't post my game thing right now, but I posted the Miami Sci-Fi. We're doing a game engine VR track for our film festival.
Perfect.
coming up in February. And so I think like, if you're a creative, a UI person, or someone who wants to like get into filmmaking or even like screenplays, you could do that and compete against the Unity people, just like the I was saying, the Burger King people might be using JavaScript first, native iOS. There's two ways to do the same thing. So yeah, let's see what you guys can do. If you guys were in the React VR with Damien, maybe we could do a sci-fi. I mean, the thing that Larry posted was a museum, right? But if you add a little robot there, that could be a sci-fi piece. And
Sounds good.
anyways, and the AI aspect too. I think there were some things that Damien did with AI in the past. So the AI is you use AI, the GPT-3 now to write screenplays. So you don't use AI to just make a whole movie. So there's a whole section, and from this we actually have Unity employees, Unreal Epic employees, and people from Star Wars will be judges. So you'll get noticed if you have
Nice.
anything locally. There's only
Thank you, Brian.
it's not that hard actually. There's only 3 sci-fi film festivals in the United States, so it's more like
What's Star Wars?
yeah,
Just kidding, sir.
Yes.
yeah. Anyways, but yeah, it's pretty interesting, all this information, and I think like the JavaScript aspect, I think it's really good because people think in JavaScript, right? Just like people dream in a native language. So I think if you went to WinCode, for example, and JavaScript was your main thing at WinCode, I think like, you'll always see your tech career in that frame, at least, for until you're at some point you want to change. But generally it seems like a lot of people who stay in JavaScript, they find a JavaScript tool to do everything else. So it's not, it's interesting.
Sounds good. So listen, I'm a big fan of PhoneGap. This is my my phone from PhoneGap. It's a little bit smaller. I don't know if you know what that is. This is the first phone I programmed with PhoneGap. It is. I'm a big, huge fan, but the Expo, just Expo alone. I know that there's universities. Like I think I remember which university was teaching kids how to program with that, because there's nothing like the kids showing up with there's a Chromebook in front of them, and they type some things in there, and they grab their phone and they point at it and beep. What they've programmed is right on their phones, and everybody has these things. They walk around, they want it here, and with Expo, especially if we go to Expo.io, and it's on a website. You literally did nothing. Like John was talking about. He spent all day setting it up. I've been there, John, and with Expo, we didn't get a chance to look at it. You want to look at it right now. It's just amazing. He showed us how to do the CLI with a professional environment, which is what you would normally do. But if you want to knock out something fairly quickly, especially if you want to show it off to someone, Expo.io. There's the environment in there. There's some predefined applications. You can pull up something that pulls up the news or something, for today, and then you can push it up there and instantly get a QR code for it. And I love it so much. I'm a huge PhoneGap, but what Expo has done with React Native is just blowing me away. And I mean,
Hey guys, I gotta run. Jonathan, awesome job. Thanks for doing this. Damien, always great. Everybody, good to see you. Maria, Prav, great to see you at BocaJS. And I'll see you guys all soon.
So good.
Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to mention that I totally forgot is that you could, once you get started with Expo, you could always exit out of Expo and continue the CLI route. So that once you run into a limitation with Expo, like, oh my God, I already did all this work. You could exit out of Expo. It's like an escape route.
Right.
And you go and you could do your own CLI thing. So
absolutely. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's wants to see the election, see what happened.
Absolutely. No. Thank you very much. I mean, if we do have any questions, please. We normally finish around 8 o'clock. It is right now 8 o'clock. Okay. I don't want to keep anybody behind, but feel free to ask questions. Interrupt me, please.
We have a new Geo just joined a little late.
Geo, thank you for joining us.
He sneaked in.
Nice. He's saying thanks to all. See, I'm missing my thoughts. I don't know what's going on in here. So it says Lisa's asking, but you'll have to go through the CLI setup as you exit Expo. Yes. So help us with a little bit of that. So essentially, what the couple of, you said you can move from the So we have the Expo.io website, and that's what I'm talking about, where it's instant, Chromebook, and your phone QR code. Boom, you're programming. Then there's the CLI, right, Jonathan?
Yes.
And then even if you want to step away from that for a reason, because like John was telling us about his application, you can continue down the rabbit hole into more and more native, what you guys are doing at work, right? And
Right.
you lose some of the benefits of that instant reload that Expo provides, but you're back in the environment, and you haven't lost anything along the way, right? You're losing the simplicity, but you keeping, if there's something you want to go farther down the API rabbit hole, you can do so.
Yeah. So like right now with Mario, every time we need to do a build, we program, we make the change, it looks great, and we have to make the build. Always something fails, one plugin fails, whatever
Always.
failed.
Yeah.
When you're trying to run an Xcode to push up to the store, something fails. Oh my God, Xcode is outdated, whatever. You eliminate all of that with Expo.
That's
So
amazing.
that's the really cool thing. Just just two commands, and your app is in the store,
right,
and it's ready for you to test in test flight, for example.
Absolutely.
That's the most amazing thing.
That is amazing. You have some of that with Ionic. You guys using Ionic with Cordova?
No.
Okay.
No, actually.
So Ionic stays in the PhoneGap world, but gives you a little bit of those, like from the Ionic CLI, I can have an APK and APP built, picking up the right cert, and you can automate that so that I pick up the developer cert right now, so I can push to the, hockey app or whatever, or whatever you're using to do that, the beta testing, and then you can pick up a different cert for production, and you can say dash prod. Yeah, so Ionic gives you some of that, but Expo does it expertly well, and it makes it a lot easier. If you have the scripts, you can do all those steps. You can even do, this. Xcode has a lot of things built in from the command line. So does Android Studio. I come from the Xamarin world. I come from the Microsoft world, but I'm sure Android Studio has those because Gradle. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So I think sure it has all those things. They're just a pain to start. And you're right. If there's one CLI that you can run and it's easy to find on the Expo, it's just amazing. So I don't know if we convinced Mario. What do you think, Mario? Have we convinced you to switch? You like Vue, right?
I'm gonna have to give it a try. Excuse me?
If Mario, are you into React Native? React JS.
Yeah, it's funny because I started to code in React first.
So if you could have that progressive web app, and with it doesn't have the Ionic with PhoneGap or Cordova, you could go all the way through and not touch React Native. Would that does that address some of the concerns that you're worried about? You do have the CSS, you have the same HTML elements if you go that direction.
Oh no, I think that's more related to the framework because I love the simplicity of Vue.js. So that's why I went to Vue.js, and actually I give it a try to Vue Native, but it's like the React Native of Vue. Of course, it's not the same, but it's
right.
Just keep the framework. Mm-hmm.
The whole team that React Native does amazing things. Like Todd mentioned, and Jonathan, you know this already. There's so many improvements, so fast, so many of those components. Mm-hmm. The endless scroll is something that every single hybrid environment has a problem with everywhere. We've had it since we were just doing PWAs, and before they were called PWAs, we've always had that problem. You know what I mean? And so that's that they own it, and they can use the native component, in Swift, or whatever. They skip the languages, right? And React Native goes straight to the language, and it is it is closer to native than to React. The difference is there's a, like you've mentioned, it's a highway. So if you need to stop along the way for some access to some bizarre API, that's a problem, because this is a highway. It goes from here to here in an express lane. So it's a little bit tough to do that. We have those problems with Cordova all the time. We have the hooks, not native hooks. We have the Cordova hooks to get access to these APIs. You've just seen that. So that's how we've solved it. Like you mentioned, Jonathan, there's that in reactive native, obviously, but that's interesting.
Yeah, and if your stack is in AWS, they have this really cool SDK that connects with SNS. So
Oh, really?
Your push notifications could go through there.
Oh no, but it's a React library, right? That you're talking about?
It's called it's a product from AWS. It's called Amplify.
Yeah.
And it works with Cognito.
Yes.
For like authentication and all that good stuff, and they have it for React Native. So it's like,
do you have it for React Native or React? Did they have it? That's what I'm asking.
No, it's React Native.
Oh,
for React Native, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's
cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, notifications is always a problem. Notifications is an issue. All that. We have a lot of that in PWAs. You know, we have a lot of things that you said you didn't have, but you're right. They're a pain, and you might have some functionality and all that. Okay. Well, I'm rambling on. Is there anybody else that has any questions? Because I'm sold.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jonathan. That was a fantastic presentation. Love the slides.
Cool. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining. And
wait.
Yeah.
If you stick around, there's a whoops.
Oh, the giveaway. We have a giveaway.
Before
guys.
I forgot, yes, I forgot.
Go away, Gio, don't go away.
Theo. I know you said Gio. Okay.
Gio, no.
Gio. Okay, if you guys want to join me at win.bocajs.org, don't go to main, just go to win.bocajs.org. And nice. Oh, I forgot to reset the numbers. That's fine. If we get a number that's not there, or you guys don't see it, well, let me know. So we have we'll see how many people need it. We have quite a bit of things to give away. We have licenses to give away, so you'll have to give me win.bocajs.org. Does everybody have their stuff? We only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's like a big number, right?
It should be only a couple numbers. It should be a big, huge number that jumps in there. Like,
yeah.
So.
Okay.
It will jump up. You should get a big number like this, like huge. You'll get a pop up and it'll say 18 as it shows up. This is the main page that normally I would have on a big screen up there. That's why it looks so tiny here. There's what? There was a big number the whole time there? Oh my God, I didn't know that. All right, do we have everybody? Let's pick some winners. Oh, that's not anybody here. Wow, we have winners. Hold on. You have a 12 out there?
That's me.
That's you? Okay. In the chat, what I want you to do you know how to chat with me or in the chat of Slack?
Sure.
So just go ahead and send me your email address. I will send you this license. Now, what it is for JetBrains. So we have a JetBrains license for you. It's a year's worth of license, but what it means really is, for example, you want ReSharper or WebStorms or PHP or Python or what's called PyChart, anything that you see here, except for any of the online services, you get for free for a year. And after a year, you still get to keep it. There's no updates, but you get to keep it. So do me a favor and find the chat. That means I just lost the chat here. Here we go. Go back. And whoa, there we go.
WebStorm is the like the VS Code, but on steroids.
Yes.
WebStorm.
I'm
absolutely amazing.
Big fan.
I might check that out. I have PyCharm through work, but
Perfect.
for personal stuff, I might try WebStorm.
Excellent. Oh, excellent. So we're going to be generous today, and we'll give another one. So we should have another one person that just jumped up there.
Yeah, I'm 16. It's Prof.
Praveen. Very good, my friend. So contact me. I have your email address. I'll send you the license. So go ahead and contact me. Thank you very much. Let me, before I thank you so much. I'm going to stop sharing. Where is my screen to stop sharing? Stop. Thank you so much. I'm going to look for chat. So if you see me just hanging out here, send me a direct mail. Perfect. I see Antonio. I have your email address. Praveen, I have yours.
Yeah.
I
And
am.
Damien, I just wanted to, if it's okay, like, just want to say if anyone who was at your previous workshops for React VR, if they want to submit to our film festival, we'll just make it free for BocaJS people.
Oh, I like that. Praveen, you always have
that's actually
the good stuff.
like $100 right there. But,
Holy smokes. So reach out right now to Praveen if you want to go to the film festival. Praveen, you always have some amazing stuff for free. You're too generous, my friend. And both of you, talking about yours is not free. Yours, you won. So I will send you right now. Let's see. To your Gmail, right, Prav?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. I'll send you right now, and you guys will have it in a couple of minutes. Pardon me. And thank you very much. We'll see you next month. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.